Hi, I'm Lana Morris from Stellar Media, and welcome. This is our first podcast, and I'm really, really pleased to introduce a very special guest, Michael Griffin. Michael is also co-owner of Stellar Media, and we're going to just do a little roundup, really, of giving us an idea of who you are, and I'm going to got loads of questions to ask you around, what you've been up to, and so. Do you want to tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess where do I start? I mean, I was born in Bristol on the 9th of January, 1967. I was 50 a couple of days ago, which was lush. But yeah, I mean, what's my background? My background is that I am, my background is that I was a sales trainer. I spent 30 years in the sales profession. I've been really successful. But 5 years ago, I thought to myself, getting slightly older, I wanted to leave a legacy. I wanted to make a difference to the world that I live in. And so I started to look at online opportunities, and it's been a fabulous 5 years, and I've learned an incredible amount of stuff. I think, Lana, it's only over the last 12 months that I think it's safe to say that you and I have found a way forward. We've created a system that's working for us. I guess a secret that I can give you is that I was once a former church leader, which, when you think that we work with people in the mind, body, spirit space, I cannot believe the journey that I've made personally when I think of some of the shows that we've been to, when I think of the fact that, I've done my first color readings recently. The difference in my own personal life over the last 30 years is incredible. I've been on an incredible journey. I've traveled the world. But you and I had a dream 5 years ago of creating an online business. It's only recently, over the last 12 months or so, that we started to find a way forward. So that's a little bit about me, I guess. Sales professional, sales trainer, former church leader, who is a man that just wants to make a difference to the mind, body, spirit space online and help mind, body, spirit business owners promote themselves in such a way that they might be able to make a difference and share who they are and what they do with those of the world that are, tackling their own spirituality in a new way.
Okay, so how did you move from pastor to sales, or was sales being a pastor, and then moving into online? What has got you to this point where you're now working with mind, body, and spirit people?
Okay, so I mean, 5 years ago, I was doing really well. I was working part-time for one of the largest motoring organizations in the country, and I used to stand outside shopping centers, high streets. I used to be working at county and national shows, and my job was to promote breakdown cover to anybody that would walk past me as a commission only salesperson. I was doing really well. I qualified for the end of year trip, which is normally, though, for those that sell 1,000 policies or more, and I was one of only 6 people that was invited to go to the end of year trip, which was in Paris. I had a great time. Went to see Moulin Rouge and have a meal on the Seine and walk around Paris and see the Notre Dame and Eiffel Tower and all that sort of stuff. 4 days of 5-star entertainment. It was incredible. And then what happened is I was only working part-time. I've been in the industry for quite some time, and the company decided that they didn't want any part-timers on board anymore. So I had the opportunity to think about what I wanted to do. They asked me if I wanted to go full-time. I didn't want to work full-time. I was earning more than enough money part-time. And so I turned down the opportunity of going full-time and thought to myself, right, okay, you've had a dream of creating a business for probably 20, 25 years. But it was never a serious dream. It was always something that was always going to be far off. And I guess when I left the motoring organization, I thought to myself, what better time is there than to think about creating my own business now? And that's what I did. And it's been an incredible 5 years. I guess I was caught up in the early days. I think the moment I put my first website online was the day that I saw the power that the internet had to change lives. And so that first domain name, that first website I built, and I have to say the website was awful. I mean, I learned how to install WordPress and use WordPress themes and plugins, which just add extra functionality to the site. But I'll be straight with you. I wasn't an author. I wasn't a writer. I wasn't very good on video back then. I certainly didn't like talking, which was, when you consider the fact that I used to stand up every Sunday and hopefully inspire people to do life better, sitting in front of a webcam or appearing, you know, via microphone somewhere was the scariest thought in the world. So my first website was absolutely awful. And when I look back on that now and I see the journey that I've made, it's been incredible. But I spent an awful lot of money. I think I spent £4,000, maybe even £5,000 trying to forge a way online. I never bought high ticket prices products. I just, you know, I found little $10, $20, $50, $100 products and thought I'll try and make some sense of this online stuff. And I never made it. 4 years in, I was, you know, still, even though I was far better than I had ever been, I still hadn't found a system that worked for me. And it was, you know, I met you online, what would it have been, 3.5 years ago, and we started to talk about, you wanted your own online business at that time. We paired up together, we had great fun on Google Hangouts, and I remember you drawing pirate hats on me and all sorts of things, and it was an absolute breeze. And it was only really, I guess, 12 months ago when you and I thought, you know, it's time to start taking this seriously now and finding a system and finding a group of people that may or may not need our help, that we started to think more seriously about what the future held. So we're in for a, you know, a fantastic 2017. Even when you think about some of the shows that we've been to, you know, people seem to love what we do, which is really, really good. And, you know, our hope has never been that we would become multimillionaires or anything as profound as that. It was just a question of making a difference, leaving a legacy. For me, I guess, when I'm no longer here, I just want my name and the work that I have done over the last 5 years, and hopefully for much longer, I just wanted it to play a part in a story somewhere.
Okay,
So
let me ask you then, what was the, and this is slightly off the questions that I had, because this has intrigued me. What do you feel was the critical moment where it's moved from something that was a long-term dream and aspiration to actually becoming a reality, and you creating or co-creating Stellar Media?
I think it comes down to meeting the right people. If I think about the amount of hours that I used to spend online trying to forge a way forward, it was great, but it's very, very lonely. And I guess for most mind, body, spirit business owners, running a mind, body, spirit business is very lonely. And so collaborating with somebody who is as passionate as you are, who likes to, I shouldn't give away too many secrets here, but, you know, let's be honest, you're a lady that when it comes to technology, you like to mush it. You know, there's no saying. Yeah, well, it does work. It does work. I mean, it's a bit frustrating watching you, you know, take an hour to do something that takes 5 minutes. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just pure fun. And I think of everything that we've learned over the last 12 months or so. And I would have to say the biggest part of everything that you and I do, I think it comes down to finding the right people. I think it works on connecting with the right people and having fun with it. I mean, it's not supposed to be hard work. It's supposed to be really easy. But if everything is hard work, then it's mentally and emotionally draining. So, you know, the reason that we set up Stellar Media was just because we found that we got on really well as people. We shared the same dreams, we shared the same goals. Did I know that I was ever going to work within the mind, body, spirit space? Not a chance. I thought I was going to be setting up my own sales consultancy and helping sales companies and sales people improve their sales. But actually, since you and I have been working together and finding a way forward within the mind, body, spirit space, I have to say it's absolutely incredible, and I love doing what I do.
Cool. So tell me, what successes have you seen so far?
Well, if I think about one young lady who she was a lady that worked within mind, body, spirit space. She didn't have an online presence, and we started to talk about, creating a new website for her that was mobile responsive, where she could sell her products online, whether her customer was on a mobile phone, a tablet, or a desktop. She knew that she needed a website, but she was afraid that most websites seemed to be nothing more than an online magazine. So you and I started talking to her about creating the system. We started talking about creating an online tutorial. We started creating lead capture websites. We started creating online booking calendars and set and forget email systems. We started to talk about outlining online courses and recording them. We started to think about creating membership sites where people could just create their courses and lock that content behind a membership site so that only their paying customers could access the content. We then started to think about, when it comes to new technology, Google Hangouts, which we're using now, Facebook Live, it all came to the fore when we started to think about how to create multi-format content very, very easily. And if you think about what we're doing today, we're using Google Hangouts, which, all right, there's a bit of a lag on the Google Hangout itself today, or there was earlier. And so, the whole aim is that we would help people create video interviews, podcast interviews, and then take those podcast interviews and create Kindle books, printed books, and whichever format of media they wanted to use. So for that one lady who really had no idea at the beginning as to how she would grow a mind, body, spirit business, it's been fabulous to see her thrive. There are many others, but I'm just thinking about that one lady in particular. I'll never forget her saying, how do I create a shop on my website? And all we did was sat on a Google Hangout. I did none of the work whatsoever. She did it herself. Yes, I was there to direct her, but just the level of enthusiasm that lady had when she saw her shop online on her own website for the very first time was incredible.
Oh yeah, and that was just lush to watch her flying and continuing to do so. So let me ask you then, what kind of misconceptions do the clients that we work with often have?
I think if you think about the whole system that I've just explained, I think there's a whole range of misconceptions. If I think about online tutorials, I think people wonder, why should someone listen to me? And it's not just about, creating content. It's about the fact that there are people with questions, and sometimes the best way of doing that is to jump on a YouTube video and to have somebody explain something very, very simply. I remember working with a lady who made incredible birthday cakes, but I think her favorite birthday cake was a Disneyland cake, and it was a lot of money really for a birthday cake, but she wasn't getting any clients. It was what she was best at. And I said to her, I said, why don't you get your daughter to take some photographs of you making the Disneyland cake and then create a short ebook showing people the steps that it would take to create a Disneyland cake of their own. And she looked at me and she said, yeah, but if I give all of the information away, then how am I ever going to sell a cake? And the amazing thing is that as soon as she started to share that PDF ebook around, she was getting clients ringing her on a regular basis. They saw the amount of work that it took to create that incredible cake, and she started getting clients on the basis that they would rather have an expert make the cake than them try and make a cake that really wasn't up to scratch. So I guess when it comes to misconceptions, I guess it all comes down to how important is technology in this day and age. If I think about websites, we think about a couple of the characters we know. There's a sense where a website, as long as it's online, that is an online presence. That's not an online presence. It's an online magazine. The question becomes, how are you found? How is it that you will find your clients? Are you going to create lots and lots of content and then hope that Google picks it up and then starts to move you to the top of the search engines? Are you going to have to pay for advertising? I guess what we found, Lana, is that content marketing, and specifically multi-format content marketing, is the way to go. So to be able to create a video, an audio, and an ebook in one sitting is incredible. And I think that leads into, your question, what is a major misconception? And I think it's about the amount of time that it takes to create this incredible content. And if you think that today, this podcast, half an hour long, within 24 hours will be a video, it will be a podcast, and it will be an ebook, which can either be uploaded to Kindle, or you can go straight over to another website that Amazon owns called CreateSpace, and you can upload the same document into CreateSpace and create your printed book, which is it's just unbelievable, really. I mean, when you think about how authors used to have to process writing a book, they'd have to get themselves an agent and then hope that they would be picked up and then maybe be offered a small advance. The world is open now for people to share their message, and the major misconception of time and how much money it will take, it takes very, very little when you consider that our running costs per month is very, very small.
Okay, so you mentioned the type of clients are, colleagues from Mind, Body, Spirit areas, and quite often running their own businesses. Who are those within the Mind, Body, Spirit that you tend to be working with?
Well, when you consider, the shows that we've been to, I mean, the first show that we went to, I made an offer to the owner of the show, and I said to her, I said, look, why don't we just do a Facebook Live or a number of Facebook Lives from around the event to get more people into the event? And I guess when we went to that show, that very first show that we went to, and I was walking around interviewing Mind, Body, Spirit businesses, I think what they saw, whether they were angel readers, tarot readers, they were mediums, they were people that worked within reflexology or Reiki, or maybe even something more general like health and well-being. There was just a very real sense that everybody that we met knew that having an online presence was important, but the technological struggles or the mindset behind becoming an expert within those technical models was where the problem was. So, I mean, we currently now work with people from a whole different range of mind, body, spirit businesses. I've mentioned a few. And I can only see that expanding really as more. I mean, we've been talking to shamans recently about how to promote themselves. And I guess the biggest difficulty for most mind, body, spirit people is most mind, body, spirit people are very, very humble. And so promoting oneself almost seems at odds with their spiritual philosophy. Yeah. But what we have seen is that there are people out there who want videos, audios, PDFs, ebooks. They want online courses. One lady that we've been talking to wants to emigrate, and the way that she feels that for her to emigrate is the best possible way to go is that she knows that she needs a whole range of resources that she can either deliver online or that she can take to workshops and seminars that she runs wherever in the world she's going to be. So it is absolutely huge. And I guess the one thing that we've seen is that everybody we talk to, what they see now is that the need for an online presence, whether that be their own website, whether that be social media, whether it be, wherever it is, those people want to be found. What they're seeing I'm guessing that's the doggies in the
It
background.
is in the background. I think they've just discovered the postman's arrived.
Okay. I guess the big thing for us is that everybody that we speak to, they love the idea of having an online presence, and they love the idea of online tutorials, booking systems, set and forget email systems, online courses, membership sites. They love Kindle books and printed books. They love the multi-format procedure, but the thought of doing that for themselves is an absolute nightmare. So that's where you and I stepped in, and we said, look, at the end of the day, we have that technical expertise. Let's help if we can.
Yeah. So if you could give one piece of advice to those that either are currently running their mind, body, spirit business, or maybe starting out, or maybe feeling a bit disillusioned that it's not growing in the way that they might hope, what would the one piece of advice be to get them back on track or inspire them and enable them to start moving, further forward?
I would go back to what I said earlier on, and the greatest difference in me, and I feel within you over the last 12 months, is collaboration. The one thing that I've seen within the mind, body, spirit space is people are very protective of their own clients. And, there is a way forward, but it's not going to be working on your own, because working on your own can be very, very lonely. It can be quite disheartening when clients are hard to come by. Certainly January 2017, everybody's expecting it to be tough. But collaboration is the key. If you think about us, we are co-directors of a brand new company, Stellar Media. But our plan is that not that it would just be us two by the end of 2017, but that we would have a team of people who share our values, who want to make a difference, who want to leave a legacy. And they would all have the technical expertise that they would need to be able to create this multi-format content. I don't see Stellar Media being just you and I at the end of 2017. I see it that we will be collaborating with a healthy size team, so that we can all work together to make a difference and leave the legacy that we want to make.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into the next question, really, because, it's about being able to support and inspire others to keep going. So what is it that you find online that inspires you? What kind of sites, what kind of resources do you look at that enhances your ability to be able to deliver through Stellar Media all the things that you want to be able to offer?
I guess the big thing for me is that I'm looking for people who are not focused upon money, but they're focused on helping others. And there's a number of people that I've been following online for the last 5 years that really, when I look at the work they do and how much impact they make, everything they do, I look out for them. I'm thinking particularly of Frank Kern. Frank Kern is an incredible man when I consider his backstory and where he's at right now. Do I want to be Frank Kern? No, I don't. I mean, at the end of the day, I work within a different field, but the man is just incredible when it comes to the amount of content that he shares for free. Yes, that will lead to people joining his email list and him being able to help them further through consulting or whatever. But he is a man who models what I believe is the way forward, which is you help people first. And then if people need specific help, then they know who to come to, because, they've received the help beforehand, which is great. If I think about a couple of other characters, Robert Plank is a man that I've been following for 5 years, him and his business partner Lance Tamashiro. They're always on the cutting edge of everything that's done. And if I think about their courses, they got Podcast Crusher and Membership Cube and all sorts of things. Those guys are, they're guys that I look up to, and every time that an email comes through with the name Robert Plank or Lance Tamashiro on it, I make sure I read it. Alex Jeffries is another. There are certain websites that I go to on a regular basis, but I tend to follow personalities rather than websites. And the reason I follow those personalities is because their heart is one of helping people first, and then ultimately, if there's some finance around the corner, in your words, Lana, if there's some abundance about to come, those people are in the right place. But what they have got is they have got a heart to help people first, which is absolutely why you and I set up Stellar Media, and why we wanted to make the difference we want to make.
Yeah. So tell me, how would clients get hold of you?
The easiest way, you know what? I'm a firm believer that the one thing that I don't see online is I don't see anybody giving out their own personal numbers. You can sign up to email lists, you can sign up to webinars, you can do all sorts of stuff, but it's all, in my view, it's quite impersonal. So, whilst we're here on this podcast, why don't we say, if anybody's got any questions when it comes to all of the elements that we've talked about creating multi-format content, why don't I just say that, my UK personal mobile number is 07789 035 844. That's a UK mobile number, 07789 035 844. That's a WhatsApp number as well, if you want to WhatsApp me a message. But let me say this, that is not my receptionist number. It is not a business number. It is my own personal number. And the reason that I'm giving out that personal number is because I believe that in 2017 and beyond, there is a lack of trust online. And my thought is that by sharing my own personal number with people that need help, no matter how small or large that help might be, if they've got any questions to ask, then to be able to get hold of the person directly that may or may not be able to help, that's a really big call.
Yeah, that is. And I think it is that ease of access, being able to get hold of you really easily. And I think one of the things that sort of triggered for me is just going back a little bit, for you were talking earlier about your original sort of spiritual frame of reference was being a pastor, and you've moved into attending, a couple of Mind Body Spirit shows, which are also showing very, very different viewpoints and philosophies coming through. So just thinking about your own spiritual growth, your own movement, what would be a recent book that you've read that has really stretched or inspired you in looking at spiritual stuff in a slightly different way?
I can think of the book right now. I'm not a big reader of Mind, Body, Spirit books, solely because a lot of the content within those books, based on my own personal theology and my experience as a former church leader, I find quite difficult to read. But look, you and I have spent hours talking about spirituality and faith and religion and all sorts of things. And I guess having, like I say, somebody to collaborate with, to ask questions of, I mean, the amount of times that you and I have sat there and had a 2 or 3 hour debate on different spiritual principles is huge. But what I am sensing is in myself, I mean, we were talking this morning, I have noticed a change. I have started to think that not everything that I interpreted or understood as a former church leader actually now sits very comfortably within 2017. I don't want to get too deep into the faith perspective, but let's just say that I feel that the biggest change within me as a spiritual man is that I've become more curious. I've started to ask myself some big questions. I've started to think about how faith and religion and spirituality work together, and I'm learning loads. I can't believe where the change has come, because if I think about myself at 50 years of age to the man that walked away or left his former church 10 years ago, the difference is incredible in my own perception of faith, religion and spirituality, over and above what it is now. So that's great. In short, the book that I would recommend is a book that I spent a fair amount of time in tears at reading it because it was my story. And it's a book called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Daniel Millman. And it's a great book. And if our listeners get nothing more from this podcast than the name of that book, I would suggest that everybody reads that book. It's called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Daniel Millman. It's his personal story as to how he moved into his new frame of spirituality, and it's a fantastic book.
Oh, great. So come on, final question then, is really, how do you envisage your business growing throughout 2017?
Well, I mean, it's our business, Lana. It's our business.
Well, I'm doing the interview.
Yeah, you
So
are
at
doing.
this point, it's you.
Wow, right. Okay. Well, I'll look forward to interviewing you next then. I guess, how do I see it changing? How do I see? The one thing I know is that I haven't got a clue as to the direction that Stellar Media will take. I don't. I know what I want to see and I know what I want to achieve, but I have to say it comes down to the mind, body, spirit community as to how helpful Stellar Media might be. I do feel that the way forward is podcasting, because there are lots of mind, body, spirit people right now that need just a little lift, a little bit of encouragement. We were talking at the West Wales show, Rosemary Griffith's show in Pembrokeshire, and we were talking about, just that sense of everybody in 2016 had a really tough year. If I think about, all right, I said to you at the beginning, I've learned how to do some basic color readings now, but everybody that I spoke to felt that the color that was most on their mind was purple. And I put those 4 shades of purple in front of them. They all picked the Black Dragon color bottle, which, after talking to you, it was all about the light at the end of the tunnel. And everybody that we shared that information with, they agreed with us that 2016 was the toughest year they'd ever had, that they were looking forward to 2017 just because it was a new start. And if I think about my own life over the last 12 months, 2 years, it's like every structure has been blown apart. Everything I thought I knew about myself, every moral fiber, every value, every personal integrity element that I felt that I knew about me has been challenged in such a way that I am a different man. We've used the words phoenix quite a bit over the last 12 months, and that's exactly the way it feels. It feels like I have been reborn in some way. Some of that is down to Stellar Media and the fact that we've been talking about Stellar Media for quite some time. If you think about how Stellar Media started, it started with WordPress magician, local income magician, and then we toyed with a number of different websites. Your website, lanamorris.com. We toyed with a number of ideas as to the way that we wanted to go, and it was only when we started to think about what is the long-term goal that Stellar Media was born. We'd already seen how multi-format content really worked, and that was the way it was going. But in I guess what I would say is that the biggest difference I see is I don't see the internet space, the space that you and I are in, I don't see it as individual people or even 2 or 3 people working together. The most effective and the most productive companies that will be born and will exist in 2017 and beyond will be collaborative, and they will be companies that make a difference, not by one celebrity guru heading up an organization, but it will be a group of people aiming to make a difference and leave a legacy.
Yeah, which sounds, and I think as a model coming through, I think we've been seeing that emerging over the last couple of years, and I absolutely agree. I think it's the right way to go. So I just want to say thank you so much for doing this podcast interview. It has been really fascinating, and there's been so many aspects that I think will be so helpful for many of the listeners, that we hopefully will attract and will find use with the information that we're sharing. So just to finish off, just give us an idea, where will we find you on a website, and perhaps you can give out your number again and just let people know how they can get in touch.
Okay, so for those people that want to go to the website is at stellarmedia.co. That's STELLARMEDIA.co. That's stellarmedia.co. So if you go there, then you can sign up to the email list if you want to do that, because the aim of this year is not only will we be helping mind, body, spirit people grow their businesses, but we'll also be teaching some marketing results, if you like. We'll be sharing those results with the community on the basis that people can start to work with, you know, what we're testing and what we're working on right now. For my own personal number, more than happy to give that again. Just remember, it's my own personal number. So, you know, bottom line is that it's not a receptionist, it's my own personal number, and I will get back to you as soon as I can if for whatever reason I'm unavailable. Okay, it's a UK personal mobile number. That's 07789035844. That's 07789035844. By all means, WhatsApp me if you're somewhere else in the world. I can always ring you back if you have a question, and it'll be my pleasure to help you grow your mind, body, spirit business in 2017.
Okay, thank you so much, Michael Griffin from stellarmedia.co. I'm Lana Morris from stellarmedia.co. You've been listening to the very first podcast of stellarmedia.co, and we look forward to sharing future ones with you. Thank you, Michael. Take care.
Thank you, Lana. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, bye-bye.